Hello friends, welcome to the new course. In this course we use Blender 3D, which is free and open source software. Now we will learn how to design a 3D character model that you can use in NFT and Metaverse technologies. Also you can use this for your NFT collections. NFT and Metaverse technologies are the upcoming bright star of the future. By improving yourself in this field, you can become a well-talented expert that the industry will need in the future. Just believe in your imagination and your own skills. If you are ready, let's get started. We will create NFT or Metaverse character together with you. For this, we open the Blender 3D software and we select firstly General, and we must save our scene with Ctrl and SK, and we will give to name our project. Yep, and I will save my Blender file and I will open the screencast. Yep. Yes friends, now you can see my button from the scene. Firstly, we will select all object and I will delete all object from my scene. Yep. I press X and I delete it. And I press the 1K and I will add one cube and I transport on the Z axis with G and ZK. If you want to transport one object, you must press to GK and you must press to Z or X or YK. I want to transport on the Z axis. For this I press the GK and then I press the ZK. For example, G and ZK. Yep. Now I select my object and I select my modifier from the menu and I select my subdivision surface modifier from the menu. I select, and as you can see we have two options, and I will give, yep, good job. Then I apply, but not now. I select my object and I switch to edit mode. Yep. Then I press the Ctrl and RK, for loop cut. Yep, loop cut, very important for us because very useful tool. Yes friends, if you want you can select to face selection mode and you can select bottom part, lower part, and press the 1 for seeing from the front, and I press the G and ZK and transport my surface. Yep, good job. And I press the 1K. I am seeing from the front, and if you want to see from side, you can press the 3. Yep, now we are seeing from side, right side, and if you want reduce to here, I press the AK and I press the S and YK. Yep, good job. Then I switch to object mode with Tab K. I press Tab and switch to object mode. If you want to came back to edit mode, you can press the tab for switch to edit mode or object mode. Yes, friends, good job. And I will apply my modifier. I click here and I press the apply button and I apply my object. Yep, when I go to object mode, edit mode, and as you can see, my object very good. Yes, friends, we created our head of our character, and now we will create our character's ears. In this lesson, we will create our character's ear. For this, I press one button and I sync from the front, and I select my object, and I press the Shift and D key, and I press G and X key. Now I press S key, I shrink my object, and I press the S and X key for enlarge on the X axis, and I select my object and switch to sculpt mode. I press one button and I select my draw mode, and I press the Control and draw. As you can see, my object changed. And again, if you want, you can press to Control key. Yep, I press Control and I select here. Again, yep. I press Shift key for smooth. Yes, friends, we are ready. And yes, good job. So now I press Control and I select draw mode, and I change my object view, and then I press the Shift key for smoothing, and I am switch to object mode again, and I press the S key, I shrink my object, and I press to shade smooth and smooth my object, and I press the G and X key. Now I press the Shift and D and transport on the X axis. Yep, good job. We are created our object. Yes, friend, that's all. We will create our eye in the next lesson. Goodbye. New lesson. In this lesson, we will create our character's eyes together with you. For this, I select my head and I press the Shift and D key, and I press the G and X key. I transport, and I press the S key for shrinking, and I press the G and X key. Yep. Maybe we can press the S and more shrinking. and I press the 3K and I transport on the y-axis. Yep, I press the 1 button, and now I press to G and XK. G and Y. I press the Shift and D and G and X. Good job. Yes, friends, we create our character's eye. And if you want, you can press the shade smooth. And again, yep. Now, we will create our character's noise. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye. Welcome to our new lesson. In this lesson, we will create our character's noise. For this, I press the Shift. I select my object and I press the Shift and D key, and I press the S key for shrinking my new object. And I press the 3K and I press G and Y key for transport on the y-axis, and I press to G and Z key for transport on the z-axis. Then I will rotate my object. For this, I press the R and X key because we must rotate on the x-axis. Yep, and I give my angel. Yes, friends, I pressed 1 button. Good job. Maybe we can transport on the z-axis or not. Yep. Good. Yes, friends, we create our objects. We create our character head and ear and eye. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye. In this lesson, we will create our character's mouth. For this, I press Shift and AK and I add 1 circle from menu, and I will press to R and XK for rotate on the x-axis. I press the 90° and I press the G and Z key and I press the S key for shrinking. Now I select my object and I switch to edit mode, edit mode, and now I press the S key and Z key. Yep, good job. Yes, friends, we are ready. And I select here. Yep. And I open this mode, proportional editing mode. I click here and I press the G key and Z key. I will give to smile. Yep, good job. Now we will fill our object. For this, I press to AK. I select all vertex. Okay. Then, if you can't open this vertex mode, you can select here H and face selection mode and vertex mode. Now I press to F and I fill my object and I switch to object mode again. And I will give solidify. I select my menu, modifier, and I give the solidify, and I increase my solidify. Yep. Good job. If you want, you can give more. And I will apply. Now I came back to edit mode again. And I select Edge selection mode. And I press the Alt K. And I give to bevel modifier. Yep. Good job. Now I will came back to object mode again. I press the tab key for this. I press one button and I am setting my origin. I press the G and Z key. I press S key and I press the 3 key. I transport on the y-axis. I press one button. Now we are ready. Yep. Yes, friends. Good job. We are created our character head and see you in the next lesson. Goodbye. New lesson. In this lesson we will create our character's eyebrow. For this I select my mouth and I press the shift and D key and I transport my object on the Z axis with G and Z key. Now I will rotate my object on the Y axis with R and Y key and I rotate 180 degrees minus. Yep, and I press the S key. If you want, you can press to S and Z key for shrink. Yep, and I press the G and X key. Now I transport on the X axis. Good job. Yep. I press the 7 key for top sync and I press the R and Z key. If you want, you can shrink on the Y axis. Yep. Good job. Now I will press to 7 key for sync from the top and I press the shift and G and copy my object and I press the G and X key for transport on the X axis and I rotate in the Z axis. Yep, now we are ready. Yes, friends, we are created our character's eyebrow. In the next lesson, we will create our hair together with you. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye. In this lesson, we will create our hair. For this, I select my head and I press the shift and D key and I transport on the X axis with G and X key. Yep. Now we select our object and I switch to edit mode and I press 1 key and I will switch to wireframe mode and I select upper part. Good job. maybe little. Yep, good job. Now I press the PK and I select selection, and I press to Tab K, I switch to object mode, and I switch to solid mode, and I select my upper part and I press the G and Z. As you can see, we create new object. Now we will press the G and Z key and I select our lower part and I deselect. I delete my older object and I will setting my origin. Yes, friends, good job. And I will give to particle. Yep. I will give to particle and I create particle and I select hair and I'm setting my hair length. Yep, good job. Now I give to children. Good job. Yep, I am in the solid mode. And if you want, you can add a lot of, maybe more. Yep. Yes, friends. Now I will give to, sorry. Yep. Yes, friends, we create our hair, and now we will give to material and base material, and now I will give to material and I write base, or you can select here base and you can give one color or not. Yep. Yes, friends, we will set it in the next lesson. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye. In the lesson, we will create our character's neck. For this, I select my head and I press the Shift and D and I press the G and Z key and I press the S key. Yep, good job. Now I press to G and Z key. This is our neck. And I will add the torus with Shift and A key. And I press the S key and I transport on the Z axis. I select and I shade smooth. Now I select again my neck and I press the Shift and D and G and Z key for creating body, and I press the S and X key and I will enlarge with S key. Good job. If you want, you can create S and Z and you can enlarge your body. I pressed one button and maybe S and X. Yes, friends, we are created our character, and in the next lesson we will create or we will design to our character head and hair. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye. new lesson. In this lesson, we will edit and design our character hairs. For this, firstly, we must select our hair, and if you want, you can give name. Yep. And I select my hair and I go back to particle edit mode. And as you can see, we have very useful tools and mode. And I use to comp, and I will set with FK. Yep. Now I will use this tool. I use my mouse and I'm design my hair. Yep. Very good. I design and I will switch to object mode. As you can see, we have good hair, and we have fail. Yep. And switch again, switch to object mode, and good job. If you want, you can use this tool. I select my hair and you can cut here and here. Good job. And I will go back to object mode, and very good. Now I will press the one button and I give the material. For this, we must switch to material preview mode, and I give it my hair material here, and I give my color for my face. I click to plus button and I click to new button, and I give my character color, skin color, and I give shade smooth, and here shade smooth. Yep. Good job. Now I give new color my mouth, maybe black. Yep. And I'm setting. Now I give black from here, dark gray or black. Yep. And now I give new color. Good job. If you want, you can give black, and you can give here now black and black. Very good. That's friends, we will give color. And here. Yep. Now yep. I give new color, maybe green. Yes, and I select my body and I will make shade smooth, and here shade smooth. Yes friends, now if you want you can give to white. Yep. Yes friends, we are coloring our hair and setting our hair. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye. In this lesson, we will render our NFT or Metaverse character together with you. For this, I press the 3K, and if you want to render from the front, you can press to number pad 1, and I press to number pad 1, and I press to Shift and AK, and I add to 1 my camera, and I press the 3K, and I transport on the y-axis my camera, and I press the G and ZK for transport on the z-axis. And now I will press to 0K, and I am in camera view, and I press to G and ZK for setting. If you want, you can press the G and YK for zooming. Yep. Now I will switch to render mode. As you can see, our scene very dark, so I must add to 1 light. For this, I press the Shift and AK, and I add 1 light, and I select area, and I press the G and ZK, and I will transport y-axis and rotate on the x-axis. Yes, and I will enlarge, and I give power. Yep, and I press this 0K, and as you can see, our object very good. And if you want, you can copy and rotate x-axis, maybe transport on the y-axis. Yes friends, good job. Now I will create background. For this, I press to Shift and AK, and I select cube, and I press the SK. Yep, I press 1 button, and I transport. Now I must delete this face. For this, I select my cube, and I switch to edit mode, and I select to this face, and I press the XK, and I delete my face, and I press the 0K. As you can see, we created. Now I switch to object mode, and I give my color, and I set here my color, new color, maybe here. Yep, good job. And if you want, you can rotate it like that. We are ready for render. Yes friends, now we will render our object. For this, you can give color, yep, and I will set here my render options, and I will set my location. I will go to desktop, and maybe PNG, blah blah blah. I accept. Yes friends, now we will render it. For this, I press the render button and render to image, and as you can see, we are render our character, and I will save as, and I will give name desktop and png blah blah. Yep, and save as it. Yes, friends, if you want, you can render Eevee engine because we used Eevee engine. If you want, you can use cycles, and cycles very different than Eevee, very quality. If you want, you can render here and give sims and render again. You must wait for fulling. Yes, we are waiting for cycle render. Yep, we are ready. Yes, friends, we render our character, NFT or Metaverse character. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next class. Goodbye.